Good morning, everybody. Today we have discussed about ME 8595 Thermal Engineering 2 from 2017 regulation. Previously, you want to study about the thermodynamics, Thermal Engineering 2 related to steam properties, pure substance, other things. From this unit, steam nozzle, we have to study about different types of nozzle, shapes of nozzle, maximum flow through nozzles, critical pressure ratio, variation of mass flow rate with the pressure ratio, effect of friction, metastables. From unit 2, we want to study about the different types of boilers, fire tube boilers, water tube boilers, comparison, mountings and safety accessories, different types of fuels, solid, liquid and gas, performance calculation, boiler trial. From third unit, we want to study about the impulse turbine and reaction turbine and the velocity diagram. From fourth unit is entirely different. We want to study about the waste heat recovery system cogeneration. Cogeneration is nothing but to produce the power energy from different cycles and heat pipes, heat pumps and regenerative. From fifth unit, we want to study about the refrigeration and air conditioning system and also to find out the cooling load calculation. Before we go to discuss about the steam nozzle, for example, from the thermal power plant, how to produce the electricity from the fuel, that is a coal is a fuel. Fuel is used to produce the steam. The high pressure steam is entered to the turbine with the help of the nozzle. The nozzle is one of the mounted for to rotate the blade, turbine blade, with the help of the high pressure velocity to inject the nozzle to rotate the buckets. To it is the turbine is coupled with a generator to produce the electricity. From steam turbine is basically an assembly of nozzle fixed to a stationary casing and rotating blades mounted on the wheels attached on a shaft a row-wise manner. Previously, some scientists to find out the Swedish engineer and Carl G.B. Wheeler developed a simple impulse turbine using a convergent and divergent nozzle which run the turbine to a maximum speed 1 lakh RPM. The steam turbines are one of employed as the prime mover together with electric generator in thermal and nuclear power plants to produce electricity. They are also used to propel large ships, ocean liners, submarines, and to drive absorbing machines like large compressor blowers, fans, and pumps. Turbines can be condensing or non-condensing type depending on whether the back pressure is below or equal to the atmospheric pressure. A steam turbine converts the energy of high pressure, high temperature steam produced by a steam generator into shaft work. The energy conversion is brought about the following ways. The high pressure, high temperature steam entered to the turbine to as first expand the nozzle emanate the high velocity fluid steam. The high velocity steam coming out the nozzle impinges on the blade mounted on the wheel. The fluid steam suffer a loss of momentum while flowing past the blades that is absorbed by the rotating wheel entering production torque. The moving blades move as a result of impulse of steam and also a result of expansion and acceleration of the steam relative to them. In other words, they also act as a nozzle. Now we have discussed about the definition of the nozzle, different types of nozzle. Nozzle is a duct that increases the velocity of the flowing fluid and the expansion of the pressure drop. A duct which decreases the velocity of a fluid and causes a corresponding increase in the pressure is a diffuser. First of all, we have discussed about the duct. Duct is nothing but we have to we have sent the fluid from one passage to one place to another place with the help of the pipeline. So generally we have to send the steam to the nozzle. The high pressure steam is convert to low pressure steam. The low velocity convert to high velocity with the help of this duct and the pressure drop on the critical pressure. A duct which decreases the velocity, the cross-sectional area, the decrease the velocity of the fluid and causes a corresponding increase in pressure is a diffuser. A same duct may be either a nozzle or a diffuser depending upon the end condition across it. If the cross-section duct decreases gradually from entry to exit, the duct is said to be convergent. Conversely, if the cross-section increases gradually from entrance to exit, the duct is said to be divergent. If the cross-section is initially decreases then increases, the duct is called convergent divergent nozzle. The minimum cross-section of the such duct is known as throat. A fluid is said to be a compressible if its density changes. The change in pressure brought about the follow. If the density does not changes very little, the fluid is said to be incompressible. Usually the gases and vapors compressible where liquid as a incompressible. From compressible we have to gas and vapor. To compress it is used to nozzle, but incompressible fuel liquids are used from the convergent nozzle, for example in the hydropower plants. This slide. So the figure shows shapes of the nozzle. The first one is a convergent nozzle, another one is a divergent nozzle, the third one is a convergent divergent nozzle. The figure shows from this diameter, inlet diameter, from the pipe, the inlet diameter and the outlet diameter. From the inlet diameter, the steam is entered to the nozzle from the high pressure and delivered to the low pressure. With the help of that critical pressure ratio, particular area the pressure will be changing. That is the meaning is critical pressure ratio. Here the low velocity of the steam is entering and leaving from the high velocity. Here the critical pressure is equal to back pressure. That is a P2 is nothing but back pressure, or critical pressure is greater than back pressure. From this Mach number is less than 1. From divergent nozzle, that is a the cross sectional area is increase from the exit area. Here the high pressure steam is entered to the divergent nozzle, leave from the low pressure. Here the back pressure is greater than the critical pressure. At subsonic speed, the Mach number is less than a decrease in area and increase the speed flow. In subsonic flow, the Mach number is greater than 1. The effect of area changes are different. A nozzle is a duct varying cross-sectional area in which the velocity increases with a drop of pressure. Its main function is produce a jet of steam with high velocity. Nozzle is used as a steam turbine, jet propulsion, and rocket propulsion. The convergent is used in a incompressible fluid. That is this convergent nozzle is used for the liquid. For example, that is hydroelectric power plant. The convergent and divergent nozzle, here the first section, three section from the convergent and divergent nozzle. The first section is convergent section, second section is throat, the third section is divergent section. This cross sectional area is varying decreases from the throat. Here the Mach number is less than 1 from throat. The Mach number is equal to 1. From this throat is here the particular pressure drop will be increasing, the critical pressure ratio will be increasing. Here only the maximum discharge. In later we have discussed about the critical pressure. From the divergent section, the Mach number is greater than 1. The back pressure is greater than for critical pressure. Next slide. So this slide we have discussed about the steam through nozzle. First of all, we should analyze about the steady flow energy equation or Bernoulli's equation or conservation of mass. The nozzle is a device to accelerate the flow. The nozzle is a simple converging duct and there is no moving part. So that's why the work done is zero. The length of the nozzle is small and the velocity of the fluid flowing through the nozzle is very high. Hence, residence time of fluid is almost negligible. So that's why the heat transfer is zero. The nozzle is normally kept horizontal. So that's why the potential energy also is zero. First of all, we should assumption from the steady flow energy equation, there is no heat transfer, that the isentropic flow equal to zero. There is no potential energy negligible zero. There is no work done. The Q, the energy equation Q plus M into H1 plus 1 by 2 V1 square plus G Z1 equal to W plus M dot H2 plus 1 by 2 V2 square plus G. Here the heat drop, heat, isentropic flow and potential energy, work done, all should be zero. From here, the inlet velocity is very less compared to outlet velocity. That's why we take only the outlet velocity. H1 is equal to H2 by 1 by 2 V2 square. V2 is equal to square root of 2 H1 minus H2 into 1000. So previously joules per kilogram, we convert to, that is a enthalpy is kilojoules into 1000. We get in outlet velocity is equal to 44.72 into H2, H1 minus H2. We find out the exit velocity means we want to use this formula. Next we have discussed about the effect of friction in the nozzle. For example, we can see about the conversion nozzle. From this conversion nozzle, the star will be denoted for the insulation. From this nozzle, the flow of the steam is entered to the nozzle. Here, from this line, there will be some friction will be started. Friction will be started means automatically the heat will be started. So if the heat will be circulated in the inlet of the nozzle, so automatically the dry saturation will be increasing. So from the based upon the Mollier chart, from x-axis enthalpy, from y-axis entropy. From here, that is a P1 is the initial pressure and P2 is a outlet pressure. From 1 to 2 is a, that is a isentropic flow. That is a theoretically will be happen. That is the pressure will be, the heat drop will be occur on the H1 to H2. But in actual, there will be some changes. That is a 2 dash. That is a 1 to 2 dash. H1 minus H2 divided by actual. That is H1 by H1 minus H2 is a theoretical. H1 minus H2 dash. That is a actual. The effect of friction will be happen that nozzle is, first one is entropy is increased, available energy is decreased, velocity of flow at throat is decreased, volume of flowing steam is decreased, throat area necessary to discharge a given mass of steam is increased. So next slide we have discussed about the nozzle efficiency and mass flow rate. The most of the friction occurs in the diverging part of the convergent divergent nozzle. The length of the converging part is very small. The effect of friction is reduced to available enthalpy drop about 10 to 15%. The velocity of steam will be done. Exit velocity is equal to 44.72 square root of K H1 minus H2, where K is a coefficient of which follow the friction laws. It is also nozzle efficiency. Here, if we find out the nozzle efficiency means del H actual and divided by del H isentropic. Already I told about based upon the Mollier chart, H1 minus H2 as a actual heat drop divided by theoretical heat drop. That is a H1 minus H2. We find out the exit velocity V2 is equal to square root of 2 H1 minus H2, that is a joules per kilogram. After that, if we find out the efficiency from the exit velocity is equal to square root of 2 H1 minus H2 into nozzle efficiency. We find out the mass flow rate of exit nozzle is M equal to area into exit velocity by specific volume. So next slide, we have discussed about the mass of steam discharged through nozzle. It is very important. From the isentropic process, this nozzle may be expressed PV power N is equal to constant, where N is a, that is adiabatic index, N is equal to 1.35 for saturated steam, from N equal to 1.3 for superheated steam, for N is equal to 1.13 is a wet steam. So depending upon the steam, we have to find out the design the nozzle. From work done equal to N by N minus 1 P1 V1 minus P2 V2, that is a isentropic basic formula. From that nozzle, we have to, from the high pressure steam is entered to the nozzle, we get the kinetic energy. From that, the kinetic energy is converted in the turbine to mechanical energy and turbine efficiency. That mechanical energy is converted to electrical energy. So from this method to gain the kinetic energy, so from this V2 square by 2 into V1 square by 2 equal to N divided by N minus 1 into V1 V1 minus V2 V2. Here V1 can be neglected from this method. Here the exit velocity is very high compared to initial velocity. That's why we have to neglect the V1. It's very small compared to V2. Here the final formula is V2 by power N by divided by equal to N divided by N minus 1 P1 V1 minus P2 V2. By manipulate, we get the final mass flow rate of the divergent nozzle, that is m dot equal to a square root of 2n divided by n minus 1 into P1 V1 into P2 P1 power of 2 by n minus P2 by P1 n plus n plus 1 divided by n. Here P1 is a initial pressure of steam. Specific volume, initial specific volume of the V1 is a initial specific volume of steam. V1 is the velocity of steam entering. Here P2 is a back pressure or exit pressure. From V1 is V1, that is V2, that is specific volume of steam at exit or throat from convergent divergent nozzle. From final velocity of the steam exit of the throat. Finally, A is equal to cross sectional area. Next slide is we have discussed about the condition of maximum discharge of the nozzle. The rate of mass flow rate unit per area is m by a equal to square root of 2000 n divided by n minus 1 into P1 V1 into P2 by P1 power of 2 by n minus P2 by P1 power of n plus 1 n by n. The mass flow per unit area, that is a mass flow per unit area is maximum at throat, since the throat area is minimum. Here 2000 n by n minus 1 into P1 V1 is fixed. From the equation we can find out only the maximum and the minimum. Maximum and the minimum, then only we have to find out the critical pressure ratio. That is, critical pressure ratio is P2 by P1. So according to the steam supplied, N is equal to 1.3 superheated steam. From N equal to 1.135 saturated steam, N equal to 1.113, that is a bed steam. Therefore, M divided by A is a maximum when P2 by P1 by 2 by N minus P2 by P1 N plus 1 is a minimum. So from previously we want to study about the maximum minima. We have to differentiate with respect to P2 by P1 is equating to 0 for maximum discharge. We have to find out the maximum discharge. Then only from the we have to find out the from the convergent divergent nozzle. We have to find out the maximum discharges happen on the throat. So that's why we have to find out this using this formula. Differentiate d by d P2 by P1 P2 by P1 2 power 2 by n power of 2 by n minus P2 by P1 n plus 1 by n equal to 0. From differentiation 2 by 2 by n P2 by P1 2 by n minus 1 power minus n plus 1 by n P2 by P1 power of n plus 1 by n minus 1 equal to 0. Here the minus 1. 2 by n P2 by P1 2n minus n equal to n plus 1 by n P2 by P1 power of 1 minus 1. So again we have to similar P2 by B1 power of 2 minus n into P2 by P1 minus 1 by n equal to n plus 1. So we have to change it. P2 by similarly P2 by P1 1 minus n by n equal to n plus 1 by 2. So again we have to simplify. P2 by P1 is equal to n plus 1 by 2. So finally we get P2 by P1 equal to n plus 1 by 2 power of n divided by 1 minus n. Again we have to simplify 2 by n plus 1 power of minus n divided by minus 1 by n. Finally we get the equation is P2 by P1 equal to 2 by n plus 1 n power of n divided by 1 minus n. The figure shows that is a convergent divergent nozzle. From here, the high pressure steam is entered to the convergent section. Here, the Mach number is greater than less than 1. This is a throat area. From this throat area, that is a critical pressure ratio. Here, the high pressure, that particular point, the maximum discharge, if you need high velocity means from here sudden changes will be happen on the throat section, then only we get the high pressure steam, that is a high speed steam is injected to the nozzle. We have to rotate the turbine blade. Here the m equal to 1 from the throat section. From the throat section is from mass flow rate is maximum, the throat section is minimum. The throat section is maximum, the mass flow rate is minimum. So next slide we have discussed about the defined critical pressure ratio and the critical pressure ratio. So if we have designed the nozzle, that is a very important. We have to find out the critical pressure ratio. The design aspect of the nozzle is very important. The ratio, the P2 by P1 is equal to 2 by n plus 1 power of n divided by n 1 minus 1. From n is already I told about the adiabatic process for index. Already the isentropic process P power n is equal to constant. Upon the value of index n for wet steam, for example, if we have to find out the wet steam, n is equal to 1.13 means we get the n value, we get the 0.582. So we have to that a maximum discharge will be happen on the 0.582. Then if you get that maximum discharge, if you get this value, then only we have to make the design of the nozzle. For example, find out the saturated steam means n equal to 1.135, we get the parameter is 0.578. From superheated steam, n is equal to 1.3, n equal to 0. Then only from this method only we have to find out the steam pressure. Sorry, we have to design the nozzle based upon this turbine. For example, from the turbine, we have to rotate the turbine. From the high pressure steam is entered to the turbine. From the nozzle will be expanded from inlet pressure to outlet pressure. So continuously we have to. These are all the important parameters to achieve the turbine. Then only we have to get to rotate the generator, and also we get the better efficiency of the turbine. First point is high velocity. We have to rotate the turbine with high velocity. The second point is nozzle speed also high. The third one is high discharge, and fourth one is mass will be. So if you achieve this all the four parameters, then only we get the better efficiency. So next we have discussed about the critical pressure. The pressure at which the area is minimum and the discharge per unit area is maximum, known as a critical pressure. The critical pressure given velocity of steam at throat is equal to sonic. So previously in the school itself we have to study about the Mach number and the sonic velocity. The critical pressure, particular point of the critical pressure, it is happen on the throat. The given velocity of steam at throat is equal to the sonic velocity. The Mach number is equal to, that is a m equal to velocity of fluid divided by velocity of sound. The flow in the convergent portion is subsonic. So the graph shows from x-axis discharge, from y-axis that is a pressure ratio. So from here, from x-axis, from y-axis 1 0.75, 0.578. For example, if you using the wet steam, that wet steam n is equal to 1.13, or for example, P2 is 10 bar, from P1 is 10 bar, we get the value is 1. So from here 1 is, there is no deviation in the discharge line. If you, there is no changes from 1. For example, from P2 is 7.5 bar, from P1 is 10 bar, we get the answer is 0.75. From the 0.75 means there is some slight changes in the discharge. The curve will be, there will be some changes. If for example you put 5 bar from that P2 and P1 is 10 bar, we get the 0.5. So from the 0.5 is a maximum discharge. For example, wet steam or superheated steam or super saturated steam, the maximum discharge is 0.7578. So then only we have to design that that nozzle means that is a critical pressure is very important parameter. So initially here the P1 is 10 bar and P2 is 10 bar. There is no discharge. From P2 is gradually reduces. This will cause the discharge is increased gradually as the pressure approaches maximum discharge. From here, from the conversion portion is already told about there is a subsonic flow, that is a Mach number is less than 1. From divergent portion, that is a Mach number is greater than 1. From throat, Mach number is equal to 1. Here the back pressure is less than P1, that is a critical pressure is less than back pressure. Here the back pressure is greater than critical pressure. Thank you. This is the first unit. End for the first unit. There is a theory part. Next we have discussed about the problem point of view.